All right, welcome to Rock Vegas, everybody. This is Glen Rockney. I'm back. And why am I back? Because the Raiders are back. I look, I apologize for the absence, but man, there was like nothing going on. I'm doing all right, but the Raiders, there was no news to report on. Some of the other fellow content creators of Raiders podcasts and YouTubers and stuff, they I bless their heart because like you know what, like a lot of that stuff was good and they were able to really make something out of nothing because I couldn't force anything. I couldn't force an episode. So I'm back because the Raiders are back. The Raiders are in training camp. About three, I think we're 3 days in on training camp now, maybe four. But yeah, the boys are back. Feels good to have a semblance of real football, although we're missing a little bit of training camp clips, aren't we? Like I'm missing like the Henry Ruggs hype videos. You know, we're supposed to be getting hyped up about Henry Ruggs right now, right? But we don't have any videos of that. Maybe like a one-handed catch, a mossing, if you will. I know I don't like to use that word as a Raider fan, right? Because he didn't moss anybody here. But anyways, we should be seeing videos like that, you know, and seeing videos of Alex Leatherwood, you know, feet moving well with good footwork. We should be seeing that. We should be drinking some Kool-Aid right now as Raider fans. And I have been. I just missed the videos a little bit, just a little bit. I saw CD Lamb make a one-handed catch the other day. That's why I brought up Henry Ruggs. I saw CD Lamb make a one-handed catch in traffic in training camp, and all my Cowboy friends on Twitter, Cowboy fan friends on Twitter, going crazy. That shouldn't be allowed. It should be illegal. Should be misinformation censored by YouTube, Twitter, and all those social media platforms. We shouldn't allow Cowboy fans to have that. No way, no chance. So the Raiders are back. Press conferences are back. The media still doesn't have a lot of access, but you know they're doing their best. I do find it funny, and this is no shot at the Raiders reporters. I just don't think John Gruden lets them in the way other coaches do. But like, man, I feel like we find out news when they find out news. Man, it's kind of crazy. But nonetheless, I just want to talk about a few things. It's been a while. Been kind of slowly digesting. I have another podcast called Rare Candy. Been really focusing on that. It's on this YouTube channel. If you click the subscribe button, you will get alerts for that podcast as well. And the other videos. Launched another podcast called RC Sports, Rare Candy Sports. Just dropped the college football episode called Memoirs of a Razorback, where I had a former Arkansas Razorback on here. We were talking about college athletes getting paid, conference realignment, Texas and Oklahoma, going to the SEC. A lot of really fun stuff there. So I've been doing that in the meantime. Still been keeping my ear to the Raider streets, though. You know what I mean? Kind of got my fingers on the pulse. But one thing that's really sticking out to me is that it's all about the defense this year for the Raiders. It's all about the defense. And you know who's doing a hell of a job on selling me on the Raiders defense this year? Because I think it's god awful, right? After last year. But who's selling me the most on the Raiders defense is none other than Gus Bradley himself. What a press conference that guy gives. And honestly, I thought Paul Guenther gave nice press conferences. It almost like you'd hate the guy. Like you give up 40, 40 and then be like, damn, this guy totally has it figured out in the press conference. And then you'd expect change and it would never happen. But Gus Bradley, man, what a press conference that guy gives. Seems like the nicest guy in the world. He seems like he'd let you get drunk at his house in high school. You know what I mean? Like he'd be like, look, I know you kids are going to go out and go drink anyways. Like just go drink in the pool house out back. And then he's faded too, like that type of guy. He seems like that. But the thing that stuck out with me, this is before training camp, is that somebody asked him, one of the beat reporters asked him, what do you see that can change in this defense as is, without new pieces, without anything? What do you think could change? And basically, defensive coordinators, it's a fraternity. They're not going to critique each other, at least publicly, for the most part. So he wasn't going to, tear down Paul Guenther's defense, but kind of did in a very positive way, where he was saying like, look, I saw guys with talent. I saw guys there. I saw guys making tackles, but I didn't see that confidence in the scheme of the players where they were able to do that extra punch at the ball, right? Make a play, jump a route, because when you're confident in your scheme, you're able to jump a route. You're able to know, to see that cheat code, you know what I mean? To see that shortcut that you can take because you're confident that maybe you have some help behind you or that you are in the right place. So you can break down, get in good tackling position, make a tackle, and maybe even force a fumble. That's something he predicates with his defenses. And I think that's what this defense misses more than anything. You look at the 2016 Raiders. That was not a good defense. I don't know where they ranked. It was higher definitely than last year's team, but like it wasn't, we're not talking a top 15 defense, that defense, but they had a really good turnover differential. And now the Raiders offense didn't turn the ball over that much last year, but the defense didn't force any turnovers. A bunch of turnovers in the Drew Lock meltdown game in Vegas. That really skewed the Raiders turnover numbers to even be as high as they were, and it wasn't high. But in 2016, they made plays. They had playmakers. You know, Reggie Nelson had a bunch of picks, right? Reggie Nelson was a really objectively bad safety for the Raiders, but he forced fumbles. Or I'm sorry, got interceptions. And then you had guys like Khalil Mack who would, you know, God, it still hurts. I still break my rhythm every time I say his name. Jeez, it still hurts. It still hurts. But Khalil Mack force a fumble on a sack. Not just get a sack, get the ball out on the sack. You know? You guys were making plays, tip ball interceptions, just things like that. Bruce Irvin could even force a fumble here and there. They had playmakers. So if your defense isn't that good, you have to be able to turn the ball over and give your good offense a short field. So I like to hear Gus Bradley say that. Because I truly think even more than Derek Carr this year, I would even argue maybe even more than John Gruden this year, Gus Bradley has the most important role on the Raiders. It's all about him. It's all about him. Now, I think, you know, some people will go, well, dude, it's the quarterback. It's the head coach. It's Henry Ruggs in his second year. It's Alex Leatherwood. It's the new offensive line. Look, all those are valid concerns. I'm not super worried about Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is going to do exactly what he did last year, and I think that was a good season. I don't think Derek Carr is going to be great. I don't think he's going to be elite. I don't think he's going to be all pro. I don't think that is the quarterback that he is. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's going to play good this year. And if he does, and the defense is at that middle of the pack, even in the 20s, low 20s, I think you could see a playoff run by this team. Truly. But that's a lot to ask. So therefore, we're putting a lot on Gus Bradley's plate. But damn if he doesn't talk himself up. And I'm not saying he's braggadocious about it. I'm not saying he's tooting his own horn, but I bought in. I'm ready to go play outside linebacker. I mean, I can't. It would be terrible. But I'm ready. Hey, man, you know, Dallin Levitt's out there. Anything's possible. But the Gus Bradley's important. I think the team it rests on his shoulders, personally. And you know, before I transfer to the offense, I do want to talk a little bit more about the defense here, because I will talk about the offense. This is not an all defense episode, but I just see it as the number one concern is the defense. So let me tell you what I'm a little bit excited about this defense under Gus Bradley. For one, I'm excited about the young secondary, right? The young secondary has potential to be very good. I think they need to be coached better. I was still a little bit mad when Derek Ansley left for Alabama. Sorry if you guys could hear some sawing. They're like literally, they might be sawing into my apartment complex right now, like actually into my apartment. Like, it's very possible. They're building an apartment, but they could just be possibly demolishing mine. My rent is current and paid, so don't say it's an eviction. But nonetheless, I'm excited about this young talent. I'm excited about the young talent back there. You have Damien Arnett in his second year. Now, I'm not the biggest Damien Arnett fan, but you know, if you can see some marginal improvement out of him, you do have a solid depth corner. Again, 19th overall pick as a depth corner ceiling, not great. That's not a great pick, but here we are, right? We have to try to extract something. We have to get a little bit more out of that, you know, try to find a little bit more water in the well, a little bit of oil left, you know, like we have to try to find something there. Trayvon Mullen, Gus Bradley's talking about, he says a very consistent corner. Now, that doesn't tell me that Bradley thinks he's a shutdown corner, but that tells me that he thinks he's a consistent corner. Consistency is good, right? Casey Hayward, veteran corner, still good, not great, still good. I think that's a starter. I think you see Mullen and Hayward starting on the outside. I think that's what you're going to see early. Now, the slot. Everybody has questions about the slot. Gus Bradley's really talking up Nate Hobbs. Very hard for me to believe that Nate Hobbs is starting there week one. However, I could see him getting some looks throughout the season. And it does sound like he's probably going to, you know, see some time on defense and not just special teams and stuff like that. They like Nate Hobbs. Now, BD Williams has done a really good job. He's told me personally in some DMs, but also he's talked about it on his podcast, Tape Don't Lie, YouTube. everybody should be subscribed. If you watch this show, that should be the other Raiders show that you watch during the week. We got y'all covered. I have the hot takes. I have the crazy guy rants. They have the good analysis. So nonetheless, slot corner in Gus Bradley's system does not have the role that it has in Gunther's system, which is a lot more complex, right? Slot corner's got to be left on an island in Gunther's system. Not the case in Gus Bradley's system. Hooks and flats, really, more so, more or less. So you're just going to need a guy that can play those two routes, not a huge role in the defense, which is a good thing that the Raiders don't need a star there, right? Which it's still good to have somebody really good, right? I mean, the Seahawks were able to go 3 deep at corner with like a lot of rotations when Bradley was there. You still want to have talent there, but he was saying he liked what he saw out of Hobbs, Lawson, which, to be fair, Lawson's best looks on the Raiders have been in the slot, and Amik Robertson. So to me, that says that Lawson will probably be the starter early. You're going to go with the veteran early. I mean, I think it's a fair move to say, but watch out for those 2 other guys. And those 2 other guys are those preseason games coming up. Robertson and Hobbs will probably have to battle out for it. It sounds like they're comfortable doing that, and I don't hate it either, to be honest. You got to see what you have in Amik Robertson. Wasn't good last year, and his special teams reps not great either. But hey, let's go. I mean, I loved the pick at the time, but it's probably going to have to happen in the slot with what he's doing. So I'm rooting for Amik Robertson just because I loved him as a prospect. But if Nate Hobbs wants to shock the world, I'm ready. Let's go. Linebackers, right? Or I'm sorry, safeties. Trayvon Merrick playing with the second unit primarily, as reported by a few Raiders beat writers. I wouldn't read too far into that. That's probably where he should go to start. Now, eventually, I think he's going to be the starting safety. Hopefully not because of disasters happening. I just hope he just ends up outplaying somebody. But, Carl Joseph, Abram, those guys are veterans. I could see them getting looks early. That makes more sense to me early. Now the linebackers is where it gets really interesting. So Divine Diablo's hurt, had a knee surgery or minor knee procedure, as John Gruden put it. Should be ready in a couple of weeks. But outside linebacker, the guy that's been getting looks, and now they haven't put pads on yet. Now with pads, I'm going to only say this once. I'm going to try to only say this once in the show because I hate during press conferences coaches that have to constantly say the pads aren't on. Now the pads aren't on, but now you have to remember the pads aren't on, but now you have to remember we're going to wait to put pads on. And once we put pads on, we'll know better. We get it. We understand this is not a padded practice. Anybody that's paying attention to their football team in the first week of training camp is psycho enough to know when padded practices are. We're good. We got it. So nonetheless, won't even say it now. Tanner Muse is playing outside linebacker. And he was saying in his base defense, he's been playing outside linebacker, Gus Bradley. Now, I don't know if that means he's getting first team reps. I'm not sure about the terminology there, but it sounded like it because the speed, right? They like the speed. Now that's interesting because as practices get more physical, I'm not sure Muse is going to stay there. So, hey, to be honest, I forgot about Tanner Muse, and I had some very, very drunken rants on this podcast about how much I didn't like having a guy named Tanner who uses product in his hair to play linebacker. I didn't like it personally, but nonetheless, Tanner wants to go off. Nicholas Morrow getting a lot of love. Vic Tafer even said he might expect Morrow, kind of just basically taking tidbits of Bradley's press conference the way I was. That's all these reporters really have is the press conferences. He was saying that Morrow might get looks over Kwiatkowski, which, that's still too early to say, but speed. Morrow's fast. I think they're valuing speed at this position. I don't hate that. I think linebackers got to be fast. Now, a fast linebacker who doesn't have any good change of direction or is constantly wrong in their reads and assignments and stuff like that. Now, being fast hurts you there because you can run all the way out of the play. Because you're so fast, you will run to the wrong place and the play will be completely behind you. So can't just be about speed, but I like that they're looking at speed. You got to have a fast defense. You have the Chiefs in your division. That's fair. And you got the Broncos are building at least a receiver core of ponies, man. These guys they can go Mustangs. And so you're going to need that. Now, Kwiatkowski, I wouldn't read too much into that, but it is kind of crazy. Like, that's what happens when you get a new defensive coordinator after a guy already signed a somewhat sizable contract with your team. He's kind of like, well, I don't care. This is my scheme. So that's interesting. You have the undrafted guy, then you have the third round pick, special teams war daddy. Still a very weird term to me. Very weird. Makes you think of leather, whips, chains, things like that. I don't know. And then you have Corey Littleton, which this I find very interesting. What Gus Bradley said. Now, he didn't say Corey Littleton stinks, but he said that Corey Littleton is a little light in the pants, does great things in coverage, but he needs his linebackers to play in the run. He needs his linebackers to come down and hit running backs. And that's not Corey Littleton's game. He's a good tackler. He's a good tackler. I mean, he was before he got to the Raiders, but again, we talked about that Gunther scheme. What I said earlier, guys probably just didn't feel comfortable just going off instinct because they were so worried about the scheme, doing the Pythagorean theorem every single time. Pythagorean theorem in my head before I can make a play because it's Gunther's defense. So Littleton, to me, that kind of meant like, and I'm just making an inference here. I don't have proof. I don't have sources, anything like that. Neither do the beat writers, but whatever. And Corey Littleton might not get the looks that I thought he would get in this defense. I think Bradley likes thumpers at linebackers, and I think he just likes to roll deep at that secondary. Like he likes to be secondary heavy with thumpers at linebackers in case you decide to run the ball. He likes a Jonathan Hankins in case you decide he loves Jonathan Hankins. In case you decide to run the ball on him, he likes to have those guys there. And here's where we get to the scariest part about this team to me. Now, I said the most important person on this team was Gus Bradley because of this defense, but here's where I'm least confident about the team is in the defensive line. Defensive line, I thought this should have been attacked way harder. They signed Yannick Ngakoue, who you want to talk about a legendary press conference. Holy crap, this guy, I won't say legendary, but he's just textbook. I had preconceived notions about Yannick as kind of like a hothead and stuff, like where he was kind of maybe a little flamboyant. You'd hear these things about him going at the Minnesota owners like kids on Twitter, like grown son, not kids, but like grown man's son, and saying like Twitter spats and stuff like that. You kind of think maybe this guy's kind of just like a hothead or something. Man, cool as a cucumber in his press conference, like insanely well spoken, like just really impressive. So really like him. I'm not worried about Yannick. I think Yannick is definitely could be a double-digit sack guy. Don't know what he gives you in the run game, but just, that's what he's there for. Rush the passer. I think they're okay there. Cleveland Ferrell is running with the twos. Your fourth overall pick is running with the second unit. Come on, man. The second unit? People will say, hey, man, like he's still developing. No, he's not. This is his third year, and you're the fourth overall pick. You're tripping if you were like a Cleveland Ferrell juiced, which was nobody. Let's not be real. Let's be real. Nobody was happy when he got picked at fourth. They started coping. Right? Everybody started coping. Well, Clemson's a good program, and he's a leader and military family and plays to run real well and base defense. Gunther loves him. Like, yeah, okay. We don't have Gunther anymore, thank God. Bradley's probably like, okay, I need somebody who can really get around the edge here. Maybe Ferrell gets a little more inside looks, maybe, which to be fair, in this scheme, I don't hate that. But this is your fourth overall pick. Your fourth overall pick has to have a all-pro ceiling. All-pro. It can't just be like, wow, this guy's just a real rock of our team. Like that at fourth overall, still a bust. Run defender at 4. Nope, sorry. I need a pass rusher. I need someone with some bend, some athleticism, high upside, a freak. You know what I'm saying? Brian Burns, that was my guy. I can't lie and say I was on the Josh Allen train. I didn't really see it with him. He's good, but last year wasn't quite his best season either. So he's had a really good rookie year, kind of okay second year. Brian Burns, I think he's developing. He's taking that next step every year. He's becoming that like freak because you bet on athleticism at 4. I've talked about that ad nauseum on this podcast, so I'll move on. But not a good sign when you see that. Crosby, all right? A lot of people like Crosby because of the sack totals. I like Crosby. I just need him to win more consistently, right? When he wins, he finishes. He's a great finisher. I need him to win more, right? Maybe Marinelli, another year of Marinelli and Bradley just letting him pin his ears back. Maybe that's what that means. Crosby's motor, effort, training, all that stuff, not in question at all. Again, I just don't know if on a really good team with a deep defensive line like I don't know if Crosby is a starter at defensive end. That's all I'm saying. Interior too, like it gets worse in my opinion. Quentin Jefferson, okay, sure. Like people tell me he's really good. I don't know about that. Most people had to Google him when the Raiders got him. Okay, right. But if you truly know football, you know he's started at places. All right, that's fine. I'm not counting on him to have like a crazy interior defensive line season. Darius Philon hasn't played in like a year and a half. What do we know there? He did show some flashes in pass rush with San Diego or LA. I don't know where they were at the time. That's how long it's been since he's played. And yeah, I don't know. Solomon Thomas, another guy. Kind of weird to me. I don't mind taking a risk on that guy, but it does seem like they're really going to try to give him meaningful snaps this year, which I don't know if that's something you want to bank on. Maybe they know something we don't. Solomon Thomas went through a lot with his family, opted out last year. So again, another guy hasn't played in a long time. This is a weak unit. It's the number one weakest unit on the team. I even think the revamped offensive line is less of a question mark than this defensive line. And I think it starts and stops there. Bradley needs pressure with 4, and I'm just not sure it's there. So nonetheless, defense, step your shit up this year. Let's move on to the offense. Again, Derek Carr. We'll say even defense and offense, everybody looks really good on the Raiders. Pause, but yeah, everyone looks good. Ruggs looks a little beefier, you know what I mean, but in a good way, healthy way. Carr looks a little stronger, which is cool. I mean, hey, I don't know what that does to his game, but it's probably better than being fat, right? I don't want him to go with Big Ben route and start being fat later in his career. So that's cool. And then everybody's looking good. So I like that. Let's start with the offensive line, right? Question mark, big question mark. I think everything else is pretty like you could see success everywhere else on this team, but the offensive line is a big deal. Andre James seems to be already anointed the starter, which is what I feared. Now, a lot of people have, again, they're coping. I still think they're coping and talking themselves into it and expecting us to go along for the ride. Which I'm not ready to yet with Andre James. I'd rather see Nick Martin. If you want to give James meaningful snaps, that's fine. Nick Martin's a veteran; he's ready to go. But like in training camp, but I don't know about handing the guy the job that early or that contract extension that early. I still think you'd like to see them battle, him and Nick Martin battle this year. If Andre James wins the job in camp, has a couple good games, then you extend him, get him cheap. That makes a lot of sense to me. I just don't see it with him personally. But everybody on the team loves him, it seems like. Colton Miller's best friend. Carr seems to be okay with him, although I still think deep down Carr is like, we really don't have Hudson, Are you serious, man? Like, it's my guy. Nonetheless, about everywhere else, Alex Leatherwood, I still think is going to have some growing pains in pass pro. I expect Alex Leatherwood to hit the ground running in the run game. I expect him to be great in the run game. Really, that's what he's good at right now in the SEC. Tough conference. I expect that to be good. Everybody else seems to be pretty confident in Alex Leatherwood, saying he's smart, gets it, very athletic. We'll see about the pass sets. We're going to see about that. I think he's going to get a few preseason snaps. I hope to at least. I'm going to count on my tape, guys. Tape don't lie. I need you to analyze the Alex Leatherwood pass sets in preseason. The few little ones, I'm sure they will, but I just need to see the footwork because everyone's saying that those feet, they're still not quite there in pass pro. Not the athleticism, but the actual footwork. So there's that. Colton Miller, I expect him to be Colton Miller and maybe even possibly better than he was last year. You're betting on upside with that contract. Denzel Good, John Simpson, incognito. That's interesting. I don't know what combination that's going to end up being. I actually think John Simpson is going to be better if they move to a more outside zone run scheme. I think John Simpson is going to be probably a better fit for that. Denzel Good is just a pure power guard. So if they want to do outside zone, I could definitely see incognito. Maybe Simpson if he's going to play a little right guard. You're not sure. We're not sure about that. Again, not my area of expertise about how easy it is to switch on offensive line, but the offensive line isn't as bad as it's not as scary as I think, especially in the run game. I expect the run game to really be good. So let's move to that. The running backs. Raiders are down a few running backs in camp. I'm not super concerned about that. I expect a healthy Josh Jacobs for the season. I expect a healthy Kenyon Drake. I heard he caught a touchdown pass today, actually. So I expect to see Jacobs and Drake. That duo, say what you will about the Drake contract, because I said a lot about it. Matt Fallon and I were kind of like, damn, love Drake, hate the money, whatever. He's here now. That could be Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt level good, in my opinion. I don't. It's all up to the offensive line, in my opinion. But Drake's a great red zone guy. Jacobs kind of struggles there a little bit. They do what each other. Drake has the breakaway speed. Jacobs doesn't. Jacobs has the power. Drake doesn't. It's a very good complementary backfield. Theo Riddick retired. I won't get into that. You can listen to my other podcast on why that may happen. We have some content coming out about that. Jalen Richard, another guy. You can listen to my other podcast. This is not the time for me to talk about that on this podcast. But yeah, there's they might need to make a move. They might need to make a move just with the NFL protocol there. They might need to bring in another third down back. They're available too. So I don't think it's DEFCON 1. I don't think it's in the submarine, the flashing red lights, water flooding stuff. I don't think that we're at that point, but yeah, that's good. Quarterback Derek Carr, I think we're going to see the exact same season that we did out of him last year. We're going to see some good, some bad, some fumbles. We're going to see, but we're going to see a very consistent quarterback that understands this offense, has weapons to throw to. I don't have much to say about Carr, to be honest. I really don't. I don't have much to say about him. I think some people hate him. Some people, everybody has to have an extreme opinion about him. I'm just agnostic on him, and I think he's going to be the quarterback for this year. And unless there's a huge catastrophe that happens, he'll be the quarterback next year too, possibly an extension too. Hate to break it to you guys. So, let's just go to the weapons. We'll end there. With the weapons, Darren Waller is number one wide receiver. He's Darren Waller. X factor on offense. Offense moves. The offense goes as he goes, in my opinion. He's great. I mean, I'm got a fantasy draft in a couple of weeks. Waller's on my list. I mean, like I'm not the type of guy to force Raiders onto my fantasy team. Like, we play for money. I want to win, but Waller's my guy. He's going to be on there. Now, Ruggs and Edwards, right? The Raiders lose Aguilar. That shouldn't matter. I like Nelson Aguilar. I thought he had a really good year last year. Would not have paid him the money New England did, but I'm happy he got it because he seems like a really cool guy, a real nice guy, hard worker. Glad that after maybe not being the best first round pick for the Eagles, that he was able to still kind of stay on that path at least. Raiders couldn't do that. They shouldn't have done that with the draft capital you've invested in wide receiver the last couple of years. Edwards and Ruggs should be the guys. John Brown too. That should be okay there. Willie Snead, if you want to keep him around. Hunter Renfrow, Foster Moreau is your backup tight end. Foster Moreau, by the way, tight end number 2. Let him have the job. He's earned it, in my opinion. He should have had it last year. Great red zone threat. Tight end 2 in a West Coast offense is tight end 1 in a lot of other offenses. So that's really good. Really good to hear that they're moving that route. I think they're not bringing in any legit competition for him. He deserves it. But Ruggs and Edwards got to step up. Year 2, Edwards, I thought he would have had a real nice rookie year last year, especially like second half, had he not got injured, but injuries happen. He is an injury prone player. That's kind of why he was there in the 3rd round. So it is what it is. But Henry Ruggs, I need to see a very good year 2 out of him. Was not impressed with him last year. Part of that was the way he was being used, but to be fair, like a 12th overall wide receiver, I expect great things from. It's the same thing with Cleveland Ferrell. You're picked inside the top 15, close to the top 10. I need you to be good right away, especially with the way you can't blame it on the COVID offseason. I mean, sure, I can't say it's not a factor, but you have guys like Justin Jefferson. I always want to call him Jordan Jefferson. Justin Jefferson. Jerry Jeudy had a decent rookie year. A lot of guys had better rookie years than Henry Ruggs. So he's going to have to step it up. It looks like he's been hitting the weight room. But he's going to have to get better in getting separation off the line of scrimmage, winning against press, and tracking the ball, to be honest. Some of the deep balls last year, Ruggs to me is not a traditional deep threat, but he's got the speed to where he's going to have to be, especially with Aguilar gone. Aguilar was the deep threat on this team. John Brown might get that too. But I mean, I think if you're asked Gruden, I think he wants Ruggs to be that guy. So to me, he's gonna have to step it up. He's the X factor on offense. I think if you can get a legit game-changing wide receiver production out of Henry Ruggs, year 2 and into year 3, I think this offense could be close to top 5 in the game. It was already top 10 without that, and without a running game last year. So if that running game steps up and Henry Ruggs is able to get going, come on, you're talking about a very good offense. It's an offense that'll paper cut you to death, but can hit you with explosive plays here and there. Just rip the whole sheet of paper, and just cut through an artery with a, college ruled notebook and shit. Like you it could happen. You could see that kind of offense. Very physical. Offensive line's a little faster. I understand what they're trying to do. It makes sense. So they're going to need some big leaps out of these people they've invested high draft capital in. But Raider Nation, I'm excited. I'm excited to be back. This is really cool. I'm excited for the Raiders to be back. I'm juiced on football. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy we're getting preseason football. Look, I took preseason for granted. Usually I'm the type of guy, I get excited for the preseason game, and I'm the first 10 minutes, I'm kind of like, all right, this is cool. Well, I'll watch it, but like, I don't get I don't have the endorphins rushing, after you get over the initial, whoa, football on the TV. After that, you kind of like wane off it. But I think this year I'm going to be a little more excited about it, especially since the Raiders camp doesn't really have full access still. So we're not getting the full story from a lot of people. I'm interested to see the slot corner battle and linebacker battle and especially the defense. So Raider Nation, I think it's fair to expect good things from this team. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Expect good things from this team. There's no reason they shouldn't be a playoff team this year, other than some decisions that they've made. But they made those decisions with the confidence as an NFL organization that those were the right decisions. So we should expect them to make those right decisions. No excuses this year. It needs to be a playoff team. This is Rock Vegas. I'm happy to be back. I will be back regularly. It's football season. And I'm at Glen Rockney on Twitter. Just hit me up on there. Subscribe to the channel. Anything I do is going to be on this channel. It's a wide array of different things. You don't have to watch every video. Some stuff you might not agree with. Whatever. That's fine. If you just want me for Raider stuff, that's no problem. If you like just my other sports stuff, if you like, the rare candy stuff, it's all here. Click subscribe on the channel, like it, spread the word, send it to a coworker if they're a Raider fan, or just agnostic football fan or something like that. I did do another video too, month or two ago about George Blanda having his 1962 quarterback season, about how it's the funniest quarterback season of all time. Kind of fun, lighthearted episode. Highly recommend you check that out if it's been a while since you've been to the channel. And that's it for me, guys. Go Raiders, Raider Nation. Let's have a good, healthy training camp. I don't want to say win the preseason game, play well. All right, guys. Everybody be safe. Have a safe week. It's crazy out there in the world. See you later.